would say minimum of 2.
This board and any future board might consider 2 enough or not.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
when will you have an answer, I mean, when will we know from Jonathan what our limits are? I mean, if that's gonna be Tuesday, then we don't have another meeting set.
We can give you that. That's something that's in our, I'll provide that tomorrow.
No, tomorrow's not soon enough for me
I
to
have it back here.
Oh, you got copies.
That's what I was like, pretty down.
When are you thinking, Shelley?
Who would have thought they would have had it? Well, I've never been in a situation where everybody had a policy where they knew where it was.
Hey, you got me.
I know, that's
You got
right.
me.
I just thought you said sorry.
Well, actually, let me get the other one.
Yeah. But wait, we got that.
I thought I had 2, but I have one here. I'm gonna go this way now. If I could point me to the direction you would be.
Was it specific to autos?
In your question
That was, I
again.
think that's where Doug was.
Question is on our umbrella.
Okay.
Okay.
Blue.
On our umbrella,
Each of you. 3.
It's on, that's in addition to your underlying limits, assuming whatever that underlying policy is. Does that make sense? So, and this is an example, I'm not saying these are limits, but if you had an underlying automobile policy with $1 million limit, plus this $3 million stacked on top, you would have $4 million in the event of an auto claim.
all right, so if the contractor had 2, we would have 5, is that what you're telling me?
It doesn't stack. Generally, as a general rule, it will not stack. So they're going to go, let's say you're third party, and I'm speaking general terms here. I would have to ask to be certain of what the insurance carriers take is on this, but normally they don't stack, so you wouldn't get 4 and 2 more.
Okay.
You would get their 2, and then you would get your last 2, so it's still going to end up at 4 in terms of your coverage. Does that make
We've
sense?
got more coverage, that makes sense to me, and so therefore I recommend we I make a motion, we lower that to $2 million.
Has there been anything in that in terms of naming the town as an additional insured on that third party? May I recommend, I don't know how all this works, but may I recommend that that's something you include, naming the town as an additional insured. This is very common practice, and any time you're hiring a sub, or what I would call a subcontractor, or a third party to do much of anything, to be named as an additional insured. It basically removes it goes to their policy before it gets to your policy.
You want to transfer all the risk. That's one of the questions that I asked during a risk control visit. You know, any contracted services, number 1. You have a written contract with them. Is there a hold harmless language holding the town of Odon?
Yeah, we
Yes.
have
Hold
that.
harmless, and also the town being as an additional insured on that contractor's policy for the services he's providing to you.
We have a hold harmless, or indemnity,
Yep.
and hold harmless.
Waiver, right.
We do not, we have them required to provide us a certificate of insurance. It does not expressly require them to name us as an additional.
That's one of our recommendations. That's from the risk control perspective.
Since we're making a change, we can do that.
Yeah.
And as an agent, that's a very common thing for our clients would request of us for somebody they're working for. Very common,
Okay.
minimal if any cost.
All right, what was the third one we answered at the last meeting?
Yeah, they'll do spring cleanup, and they'll provide 4 roll-offs for 2 weekends. We'll review after 1 year to determine if 4 is sufficient.
Okay. So, number 1 was the
Lower the insurance
lower the insurance,
from 10 million, I assume you're saying, to 2.
2 million. Also put the clause in there, and give me the
Add
wording,
additional
please.
insurance.
An additional insured.
Okay. Number 2. That was a recycling, correct?
Number 2 was add the town's additional insurance. Number 3 now would be review, or for spring cleanup, they'll provide 4 roll-offs, 2 weekends.
Okay, so
4 roll.
Right.
4 roll-offs for 2 weeks.
2 weekends in 1 central location, and then we'll review after 1 year to determine if that's
Okay.
sufficient.
Okay. And number 3 was the recycling containers, correct?
What do you mean?
That they have to provide them.
Provide them. I think if we had wording there that, initially have one for all those that want recycling, and,
They've got to be,
anyone upon request, so they could judge how many of them they want on hand.
Isn't that what it says already? They just wanted it changed?
yeah, they didn't wanna provide that many.
I think we had for everyone. Anyway,
Right, they didn't want to provide, I know they didn't want to provide one everyone, but I thought they were asking that be changed, not that it wasn't in there.
so if there's a 40-50% recycling initially, I would be surprised, but I think it'll grow.
I do too. I don't think it's grow, they don't have a container though.
Did you wanna say the size?
We got some back here, we can,
Standard is 17 gallon, I think.
Those are kinda small though. I think the picture you sent last meeting
Yeah.
was
It's
a
one
longer.
down here.
they're good to wash your car with, so I think people want them. Need to get rid of them.
They are.
Can we say this? The one that I'm using down there is about 15 gallon.
15 gallons.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a tub. So if we said at least 15 gallon, at least a 15.
It's sort of like one of these totes you get from Dollar
That's what
Tree.
it is, so it is. I still got a picture of my phone, I think. So, yeah.